So good morning and welcome to FLOW's coverage of day 2 on the SOL Rally Barbados. It's an exciting time as the teams get set and prepped for what is going to be a big day. But things kicked off last night in spectacular fashion at Bushy Park. It was 2 showpiece stages that wowed the crowds. It was tight, it was twisty and it was technical, and there was certainly a lot of action. Here's Rich Nichols with the story.
It's just a couple of kilometres long, but this complex crossover layout has plenty of challenges and traps, as we've seen in previous years here at Bushy Park. And one of the other things we've seen in previous years is the ferociously tuned Toyota Starlet, which crowd the entry list and, amazingly, the top of the leaderboard very often as well. Josh Reed's heading up the local championship at the moment, so he's bang on form. Roger Mayer's always on form, runs in the same class, super modified too. He was quickest on both runs tonight, and he's ahead of Reed on the leaderboard. It's 4th against 7th. Roger Skeet knows you can't win it here, but we all know you definitely can lose it. Kevin Proctor alongside in this Fiesta that only just got finished in time to be here, but looking and sounding immaculate and running very strongly. The track constructed by Apex to FIA specs, especially for the Race of Champions, so the layout means you can't really tell who's ahead until they're lining up for the charge to the line, and of course that's the whole idea. Gets the fans excited, gets them cheering, gets them on their feet at the end of 2 laps. Proctor and Skeet across the line in that order. That's the way they'll end the night as well. Simon Jean-Joseph, Rob Swan, and Jean-Jo a bit quick off the line there. That could well get him a 10-second penalty. They don't always start on the minute, and that can catch out someone who's been a World Championship regular and whose reflexes are tuned to the zeros on the clock. Rob Swan had a few issues with his new Impreza after King of the Hill, but a big family effort as usual with that team, and a new gearbox seem to have sorted it all out now. Heading towards the finish after 2 laps, 2 runs this evening. Don't forget, John Joseph a couple of seconds quicker, but there is that penalty question mark above his head. Next pair up, Elvin Evans and Jeffrey Panton, and Evans has done it as well, and he's done it by miles, hasn't he? Evans has gone on the 0 as he always does. Jeffrey Panton waits on the line. Michael Fennell telling him not to go yet, telling him waiting is the right thing to do. But 15 seconds is a long time to watch someone gas it up and get it away from you. But he managed to do that, kept his patience. He's surely done the right thing. Evans running well, but that World Rally Championship reflex start on the 0 will have cost him 10 seconds for sure. So what you're seeing now isn't going to be what we see on the leaderboard. A great time. He's surely going to get penalised as he crosses the line. It'll be Panton a long way behind and probably feeling a little bit lonely just now, but I'm sure that he has confidence in his co-driver. And there's the confirmation for both. John Joseph sneaks into the top 6, but Evans is 9th, Proctor 2nd, but an on form and on fire defending champion Jeffrey Panton really has put a marker down tonight.
So exciting stuff at Bushy Park last night, and Jeffrey Panton tops the leaderboard after all that. But it was an evening of mixed fortunes for 2 of the other big name drivers, Elfyn Evans and Simon Jean-Joseph, and hopefully I'll be able to get a word with them right now. So Elfyn, great to see you this morning. There's a lot of excitement here in service, but there was a lot of excitement last night as well. Tell us how that played out for you.
Yeah, a bit of confusion last night with some timing, but obviously fantastic atmosphere and great way to start the rally really. So looking forward to some proper stages today.
Yeah, proper stages, but they're short stages. You've got to be going quick straight out of the blocks, and obviously the penalty that yourself and Simon picked up last night, you know, it's not making it easy for you.
No, for sure, but hey, we're here to have fun, so let's continue on that way and yeah, enjoy the rest of the weekend.
So Jeffrey, great to see you this morning. There was a lot of excitement at Bushy Park last night, but you held your nerve off the start, whereas others didn't.
I was a little unsure if he was correct when I saw everything move off, but we stayed and waited, and unfortunately it was the right thing to do.
There's 12 stages, it's 68 kilometres. Presumably to finish first you have to finish.
Yeah, first you have to finish, but in Barbados the stages are so short that it's so hard to make up time on a stage that you have to be a maximum from the get-go. So it's going to be an interesting day for sure.
So Simon, great to meet you here this morning. There's obviously a lot of excitement going on, but it all kicked off last night at Bushy Park. Tell us about your evening.
We have a misunderstanding about the start on the first pass, so it can happen, you know. I did a mistake and I accept it. I'm really sorry for all the people who is supporting us, but you know, it's better to have it now than to have it at the end of the rally. So we're going to manage with that. I think the rally is going to be tough. As you can see, the weather is not so clear. So it will be a difficult rally, but I hope we're going to enjoy it and have fun.
It was exciting stuff at Bushy Park, but there was a bit of a moment for you perhaps off the start line on the first run.
Yeah, I was a little surprised that there was what appeared to be jump starts by my opponent, and I just waited, and to tell you the truth, I wasn't sure what was going on.
Yeah, there was a couple of jump starts last night, and I think it was a bit of confusion for all. But now that we're here, it's a big day. I think 12 stages today, 68 kilometres. What's the key to winning the stage and winning the day today?
Absolutely. Today is just to stay on this course and not leave it, and not have any punctures, and obviously not get any penalties for doing things that aren't correct.
Well, join us after the break then, when it will be a green for go here at the SOL Rally Barbados. Welcome back to day 2 here on the SOL Rally Barbados, where it's the big one. 68 kilometres split across 12 stages, and we're about to get underway with the first batch of 3 of them. The cars then go into service before coming out and doing another 3 stages. It's then lunch, and then there's a full 6 stages still to go. The excitement down here at the start of stage 3 is mounting, and so it's probably high time under the sunshine that is beating down as we head over and join your commentator, Rich Nichols.
And it is a glorious day to go rallying. And Elfyn Evans gets to start it off by virtue of his FIA status, although he was 9th after that troubled start in Bushy Park last night. But he's right on it now, as you'd expect from a WRC regular. But he's 3 seconds behind Dane Skeet and 12 behind rally leader Jeffrey Panton, and chasing hard to catch up. He's the first to finish this group of stages in rocket ship time, but we need all the others home before we can confirm leaderboard changes. Jeffrey Panton drove an ice-cold trip through Bushy Park to take a firm grip on the leaderboard. He's 3+ seconds clear after 4 kilometres, a pretty daunting thing for everyone else, but they refused to be daunted, and though Panton gained a fraction on the first stage, he gave it back on the second. And we need to wait for Simon John Joseph to finish to see how he'll have done on this morning's first 3 outings. 4.5 clicks, 5.5, and then 7 even for a morning of just over 17 Ks. Panton over the line, a good time, but that might not be enough to keep the lead of the rally. And here's where we find out. Simon John Joseph nursing a 10-second penalty from last night, but he's got almost half of it back, if you like, and now the deceptively amiable 47-year-old from Martinique is breathing down Panton's neck. John Joseph won the national championship in Martinique. He went to France and won it there, and then he did 4 seasons in WRC with Team Kronos. He knows his way around a rally car and these stages. And he knows when the time is right to push hard. It is ever so bumpy here though, as you can see. Doesn't look so bad from inside the car as sometimes it does on the outside. But Jean-Joseph right on it. This is going to be another good run. The gap is closing down again. Rob Swan in third place after Bushy Park. A solid finish for him, but 2 or 3 seconds down on Panton, and you just can't afford to give Jeffrey that kind of headwind. But Swan getting to know the car now, really getting to use it well and get the best out of it. And again, a good look at the bumpiness of the stages here. They're pretty much all the same. None of it gets much better than this. Tomorrow will be better, but everything today is ultimately as rough as old boots. Unlucky 13, do you think, for Roger Skeet? He's been bogging away from the line, having lots of trouble. Now, he's 30 seconds behind on the road. Goes like stink when it's going. Don't know whether he's on mad mode 1 or mad mode 2 this morning, but he may have to move this up a notch if he wants to stay with the leaders at the end of this run of stages. Doesn't look mad at all in here, does it? All cool, calm and collected and businesslike. Just another day in the office for these boys, but outside it's all frantic action and lots of horsepower being kicked around by the bumps though. No matter how clever the cars are, these roads really make them work for it. Kevin Proctor, this trick and much travel Fiesta, sitting in second spot at the start of the day, but on these longer stages he might see the bigger cars cruising past him on the leaderboard as they use their extra power. Josh Reed's probably expecting the same. A giant killing 7th place last night, and even then he wasn't the fastest of the super modified cars. But the fans all love these drive it like you stole it starlets, and so do the drivers, even though they can be quite choppy over the bumps. Roger Mayers was the quickest super modified yesterday evening, delighting the fans as he stormed round Bushy Park to be in 4th place starting out today. But once again, it's hard to avoid the feeling that the only way to stay there is to wring the neck so hard it all goes off bang. And he's dealing with the same issues. Short wheelbase, lots of power, bumpy roads. It's never easy. Dane Skeet in the Peugeot's another one of this frantically fast brigade of local drivers, as we saw last night. And in scrutineering, their fan base is numerous and vocal, and they're all out there cheering on every corner. Panton maintains his position though, and the 4-second gap to Jean-Joseph. Rob Swan third ahead of Elfyn Evans, and Maestro Mayers in front of a troubled Roger Skeet. And Dane Skeet was down 1 place in 9th and looking good.
Welcome back to Flow Sports coverage of the SOL Rally Barbados, where we're now 3 stages in this morning, 5 stages in total. And Elfyn Evans, well, he's on a charge. Let's head straight to Rich Nichols and get confirmation of the leaderboard.
And here's your top 6 then. Panton by 4 seconds, keeping it steady. Evans up to 4th after those first 17 kilometres of the day.
So that's the leaderboard, and right now the cars have made their way back to the start line for the next group of 3 stages. So here's Richard.
And this is a straight rerun of this morning's first 3 stages. That often means they'll be going quicker than they were, especially on the 3rd and longest stage of the loop, where a big push can pay dividends. 90 left and cut is what Craig Parry will be telling Elfyn here. Any corner cutting, save time, as long as you don't lose it on the grass or hit a rock. And those are the kind of things the locals have in their memory banks. But Evans is driving this like a WRC event. So much for having a bit of fun, which is what he laughingly told us at scrutineering. His dad used to say that too, and he didn't mean it either. He won his first stage on the last one of this morning, and he may well do that again now. But last year's winner, this year's rally leader, Geoffrey Panton, defending a narrow 4-second margin over these 3 stages and trying to keep his focus better placed and better planted. Smooth and tidy is what does the job. Right now, Panton is concerned about his nearest challenger and trying to maintain that gap and stay out of trouble. He may not need to worry about Evans until tomorrow, but then the stages will emphasise the advantage of the big WRC focus. But Simon Jean-Joseph is taking no prisoners in the run-up to lunchtime. Sometimes the harder you try, the more out of shape it all gets, and then the fractions slip away. Jean-Jo hasn't got fractions to spare, and he gave away a huge bunch of time on SS7, losing almost 10 seconds to Panton, but still staying ahead of 3rd place. And that's Rob Swan doing the job properly in the Impreza. Nothing silly, letting the car do all the work, concentrating on a podium place, but also he must be concerned that Evans is winning stages as he tries to claw back his penalty, and it's working. 4th place now, closer to Swan and then a little further back, but still too close for comfort, especially if your name's Rob Swan or Aled Edwards calling the notes in the blue Impreza. Roger Skeet, as we saw, hitting his stride on stages he knows well. He's dismissed the Starlet duo as expected once the Subaru could stretch its legs, but now it's going to be a lot harder to move up the leaderboard, and Skeet probably needs the guys ahead to go into Mad Mode 5 and take themselves up an escape road or 2 if he wants to be on the podium again, as his fans certainly do, cheering him on.
And of course, there's plenty to do out here in Barbados in between the stages. I mean, how about this? You can throw down a few dollars on a World Championship game of dominoes.
Yay! Josh Reed still going well, but the Starlet losing ground to the WRC cars now, really not racing them. He's chasing Roger Mayers, who started this loop 8 seconds and 2 places ahead on the leaderboard. And this is a round of the National Championship. So there's more than honour and bragging rights at stake between these two. It's just another reason why they're taking it all so terribly seriously. And the other one, of course, is they just can't help themselves. Roger Mayers and the formidable white and black Starlet with that huge wing on the back. Always popular among a vocal and well-informed crowd here. And always, always, always looks like he and the car have got nothing left to give. He was 8 seconds to the good on Reed this morning, and on this loop he managed to grow the margin, but not by quite the same amount. Kevin Proctor not having such a good morning after that super impressive debut. He dropped to 8th on the first loop and lost getting on for 30 seconds to the rally leader, and he's doing it again now. That's a measure of how hard it is to run at the front here. Cheerful as ever, Rhett Watson with the BMW. Super modified 3, this car. A bit too big and heavy for King of the Hill or Bushy Park, but today and tomorrow should suit it better. Easily leading his class here and looking good for a good finish in 2-wheel drive as well, plus enjoying the hell out of himself on the way. Dane Skeet just ahead of him on the leaderboard, 9th overall. That's a steady morning for him. Holding station as the second run through here gradually comes to an end, and the crew start thinking about heading back into Bridgetown to service for the lunch break at Warren's. So we're 8 stages done now. Geoffrey Panton has a better looking margin over Simon Jean-Joseph, but Evans is just 3 seconds behind Swan, and there are 6 more different stages to go this afternoon.
Well, after all that high-octane, fast-paced action, I think I deserve a break. So I'm going to join the lads who are bowling at a medium pace. See you after the break. So, welcome back to service after a hectic day here at the SOL Rally Barbados, where we've seen some fantastic driving and some great performances, including that of Simon John Joseph, who has been taking time out of this man, current rally leader, Geoffrey Panton. High time then I caught up with him and some of the other drivers. So Jeff, first few stages done and you're sitting in first position. Tell us about your morning.
It's been very challenging to say the least. Simon is pushing extremely hard. Other than the first stage, I think that was all in all we beat him on for the whole day so far. He's been giving us a half a second to a second every stage, so it's been very difficult. We're pushing beyond the limit, I think, in many places, but we have to do what we have to do.
So yeah, this morning as well, Simon, we talk about tyres, wondering if it was going to rain, and it hasn't done that really.
No, fortunately no. So, no, but you know, that's the island. Everything can happen. It's very tropical, so, and very hot, like you see, and humid. So yeah, no, we had great fun. Unfortunately, this puncture, so the challenge still there. We still have, I don't know, 12 or 14 stages to do. So still motivated, don't worry.
So Elfyn, you managed to get yourself up from 9th to 4th as we're at lunch here on the first day. Tell us about your morning.
Yeah, the morning's been quite good. I'm not 100% sure where we're standing, to be honest. Had some great fun out there on the stages. It's not been without its difficulties, you know, some tricky places out there this morning. We hit a patch of oil and quite lucky to get away with that, but we didn't know it was there, so it's tricky enough, but enjoying it, yeah.
Yeah, tricky enough and tight enough as well, but it seems like you're using every inch of the road that's available.
Yeah, we're trying, obviously, you know, on certain stages the chassis of the R5 is suiting it well. Obviously on other stages the power of the big old 2-litre World Rally cars is helping them, so it's a difficult challenge, but we're enjoying it.
So Rog, first few stages of the rally have been done. Tell us how it's going so far.
Well, it's mixed, you know. Some of it's good, been really good, but it's been a little bit difficult getting back up to speed after 10 months out of the car. I think we're back into a situation where we are in a normal groove now and can do comparable times. So yeah, we've had a couple of offs, but the last 3 were good, no problem.
Well, there certainly is lots to talk about here in service, but sadly that's all we've got time for now. Don't forget, we'll be bringing you a rally update later tonight, and we'll be covering all of Sunday's action when we'll find out who will be crowned the 2016 champion of the SOL Rally Barbados. But for now, from all of us here, see ya.